all of your favorite recipes. Simply Food.
You should know by now that you're in for a treat.
Simply Food.
There's no other channel where you'd rather be.
Simply Food. Seafood, pasta, cakes, and pies. Sing and laugh and even cry. Like and share and hit subscribe. Simply Food by TY.
Hey, what's up, you guys? It's your boy, Simply Food by TY, and today, I'm not going to be bringing you guys an original recipe. This is actually a recipe that I found online quite some time ago, and I wanted to share the experience with you guys. So let's go on ahead and jump right into it and making some beautiful pumpkin cheesecake bars. So what we're doing right now to a food processor is we're adding in 14 full sheets of cinnamon graham crackers. That's going to add, that extra boost of cinnamon flavor, and you want to bring those down to about a sandy texture or so. Go on ahead and have your oven preheated at about 350 degrees. This entire recipe will all be cooked at the same temperature, so have that ready to go. So to a bowl, you're going to go ahead and add those there. And then we're going to start to add in the other ingredients. As you can see, that's nice and sandy, which is what you want. So what we're going to do now is we're going to add in 1/4 of a cup of packed light brown sugar. And then we're going to add in 1/2 cup of unsalted butter. Go on ahead and give that a good mix so that it is all completely wet. And then what you're going to do is you're going to transfer that to about a 9x14 baking dish. This is the same baking dish that I used for the infamous macaroni and cheese video, which I'm pretty sure is about a 14-inch pan. You're going to get that nice and smooth. Make sure it's nice and even. And then you're going to bake that in the oven at 350 degrees for about 30 minutes. And then what you want to do is you want to go ahead and sit that to the side so that it can begin to start to cool off while you then start working on the cheesecake mixture, okay? Once again, you want to make sure that it is completely even. Pop that in the oven 30 minutes, let it cool. Let's start working on the cheesecake. So what we're going to be adding in now are 4 8-ounce packages of cream cheese that are pretty much at room temperature. You want all of the ingredients for this to be at room temperature. Trust me, it'll make your life a whole heck of a lot easier. Then you're going to add in 1 1/3 cup of granulated white sugar, and then you can go ahead and begin to start to cream that. Now, if you've never made a cheesecake of any kind before, it is key to make sure that it remains nice and smooth, okay? Now, because I had about medium-sized eggs, I'm going to be adding in 5. If you have large eggs, you only need to use 4, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and start to add in my eggs one by one. As you can see, my bowl was trying to not allow me to be great, but it's going to be okay today, okay? Now, once again, like I said, y'all, if you've never made any type of cheesecake before, it is really important that you keep this batter as smooth as possible, okay? It's what prevents the cheesecakes from cracking, as well as making sure that pretty much everything is almost at about the same temperature. That's a pretty big key component to making cheesecake of any kind, to be honest, whether it's the bars or any other type of cheesecake. Go on ahead and give that a quick little scrape down on the sides. Make sure that you guys are getting everything fully mixed in so that nothing is being caked up on one side of the bowl. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to add in 1 cup of sour cream. Once again, that is also at room temperature. That's just a full fat sour cream. We ain't looking, this ain't no diet meal, I can tell you that right now, okay? Now, y'all already know how I am when it comes to me and my vanilla. Y'all know that I love me some Nielsen Macy. So we're going to add some of that in there. I also just threw in 1 tablespoon of lemon juice. And as far as the vanilla, we are going to be adding in, I would say, roughly about 1 tablespoon, okay? You don't have to be shy about that vanilla. Really go ahead and go for it, especially if you're using that Nielsen Macy. Now, what you want to do, now this is very important, you guys. You only want to add in 2 cups of the plain cheesecake mixture, okay? It is very important that you only add in 2 cups. I know it might seem like it's not a lot, but what we're doing right now is we're building in layers. And if you remove too much of the plain cheesecake, what's going to happen is when we start to infuse it with the pumpkin flavor, you're going to mess up the balance, and you don't want to do that, okay? So right now we're going to smooth out this first layer of the cheesecake batter. And you want to make sure that it's nice and even because once again, we're starting to build our layers. Once you get that taken care of, you can go ahead and either put that in your freezer or in your refrigerator for about the next, 10 to 15 minutes, however long it's going to take you to finish off this next section, which will be infusing it with the pumpkin, okay? You want it to stay nice and cold, so go ahead and either pop that in your freezer or in the refrigerator, okay? So now let's start to talk about the pumpkin aspect. One key component for that is make sure that you guys are going to be using pure pumpkin, not pumpkin pie filling, okay? So let's start to add in some cinnamon. So we're going to add in 2 tablespoons of ground cinnamon. Then we are going to be adding in nutmeg, which we're going to add in 1.5 teaspoons of nutmeg, as well as 1.5 teaspoons of ground clove. And then we're going to also be adding in 1/2 teaspoon of ground ginger. And again, as I said, we're going to be using 1 15-ounce can of pure pumpkin, okay? Not pumpkin pie filling, but pure pumpkin. You want to go ahead and mix that once again until it is nice and smooth. And this is the reason why I said, you wanted to make sure that you guys only used 2 cups of that plain cheesecake filling. You see what I'm saying? Because we've just added in so many seasoning and so much pumpkin that this will completely balance out with that remaining cheesecake mixture that you had in there before. Make sure you're giving that a little scrape down on the side so that once again, we can make sure that we have everything built in. You guys, this recipe is all about patience and layers, but I promise you, the next day, these things are everything. It takes a full 2 days for this to come together, but I'm trying to tell you, it's going to be everything. So now we're going to go ahead and pour in our pumpkin mix over top of our first layer. Be very, very gentle. Once again, we're trying to create layers. So, you don't want to be too rough when you're spreading this out. Be very, very gentle from this moment forward. It's really important. Once you get this nice and smooth, you guys, you're going to put this in the oven uncovered, okay? Uncovered for 30 minutes. You're going to bake this for 30 minutes. It is not going to look like it's fully cooked because it's not supposed to, okay? It's going to be very, very soft and very jiggly when it comes out of the oven, and that's exactly right. Let's work on the strudel while that's in the oven. So what we're doing now to our food processor, we're adding in 1 cup of raw pecans. We're going to be adding in 2 teaspoons, of course, of my pure vanilla. Y'all know I love that. And just to go ahead and infuse those, go ahead and give those a rough chop first before you start to add in the following ingredients. So now we're going to start to add in 1/2 cup of the quick oats. I love some quick oats. And the seasonings that you see here is 1/2 teaspoon of ground cinnamon and then 1/4 teaspoon of ground nutmeg, ground cloves, and ground ginger. Also 1/8 teaspoon of salt. And then we're going to add in just a little bit of flour, which is 2/3 cup. And then we're going to add in 3/4 cup of light brown sugar. And 1/2 cup of very, very chilled. If even you need to make it frozen, that's fine. But 1/2 cup of chilled unsalted butter, which is simply 1 cup, okay? You want to get that to a nice pulp, you want it to be nice and grainy. It doesn't have to be completely sandy. You want to see some texture to it. See, there's a little bit of texture. That's fine. Now, what I would suggest, because as I said, that pumpkin pie filling that you see right there, that pumpkin cheesecake layer, that is very, very tender. So you have got to be very careful. So what I would suggest is sprinkle on the first layer like you see me doing, and then you can go ahead and pour on the top. But be very careful because once again, it is so tender underneath because that's nowhere near fully cooked, and you don't want to crack it and you don't want to break it at all, okay? So once you get all of the strudel on the top, go ahead and take the tips of your fingers and just simply evenly spread it out, okay? Now, here we go. This is the part where the recipe gets kind of long and long-winded. You're going to put this back in the oven, you guys, uncovered. You're going to bake it at 350 degrees for about 45 to 50 minutes. Once it's done, leave it in the oven. Turn the oven off. You're going to crack the door open as you see here. Leave it in there for about 2 hours to start to slowly lower the temperature. You cannot drop the temperature of a cheesecake too quick or it will crack. Once you take it out of the oven, sit on the counter, let it cool for an additional 2 to 3 hours, okay? So that's about 4 to 5 hours total that we're focusing on the cooling. Then you can put it in the fridge, wrap it with the saran wrap, the aluminum foil like you see me just taking off here. And then 24 hours later, you want to let it sit for 24 hours, slice it up, and you got yourself some bomb pumpkin cheesecake bars. I promise you this recipe is everything, okay? Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I can't wait to see you guys in the next video. I'll talk to y'all soon. Bye-bye.
Slaying in the kitchen.
Simply Food by TY.
We hope that you enjoyed it.
Simply Food by TY. If you haven't took the time, make sure you subscribe. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching Simply Food by TY.